guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take some Dollar Tree loot and we're going to turn it into some beautiful farmhouse mantel decor. If you want to know how to make it, stick around. I'll show you how. And if you want to see future videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this barn door with an easy wood grain technique. You're going to take 7 of the Dollar Tree signs. And first of all, you're going to do is you're going to remove the jute tag off the back of it. And you're going to take a heat gun and heat up the heart to remove it. And then heat up the paper to remove the paper. Then spritz it with water to remove the rest of it. Then you're going to take 3 of the boards and you're going to go ahead and score them and split them into pieces, because these are going to be the braces for your door. And a utility knife works great with these, about 6 slices through and it'll break off. Then you're going to turn them up, 4 of them over on the back. That's going to be your door, and we're going to go ahead and brace them with these 3 of the braces that you just cut off. We're going to use a wood glue on them, and we're just going to attach them. You just drag the wood glue, kind of zigzag on it, and then smooth it out with a paint stick, and then adhere it to the back. And we're going to put 3 of these along the back of it. Okay, then you're just going to add on your bracing, you're going to have 1 closer to the edge of the top, 1 closer to the edge to the bottom, and then 1 in the center. And then after we get it all glued together, we're going to put some books on top of it, and we're going to let it dry. And it probably take, I'd say, about 30 minutes to dry, and then you can go ahead and flip it over and do the other side. Okay, now that it's dry, we're going to go ahead and flip it over to the front. And we're going to start attaching our wood to the front to make the barn door look. We're going to take 1 at the top, and we're going to measure 2.5 inches down and just mark that off on both sides. And that's where the top part of our first brace is going to go. We're just going to line it up, and then we're going to draw a line with a pencil so we know exactly where it is. And then we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. But this time on the bottom one, we're going to go 2.5 inches up from the bottom, and that's where the bottom of our brace is going to be. So just mark it on both sides and put the bottom of the brace on that line. And then we're just going to draw a pencil across that so we know where our brace is. After that, we're going to bring our 2 diagonals in. And we are going to attach the top of the piece of wood to the edge of the bottom line on the top. And we're going to come over, and we're going to have it go down over to the front of the center. Now these will overlap over those lines, and that's where you're going to get your marking line so you can cut your diagonal. Your diagonal is going to be on that same line as that pencil line of the bottom brace that you just drew the line across. So you can draw that diagonal on there. And then we're going to do the same thing at the top. And we're just going to make sure that at the top, the edge of that diagonal is at the corner of the bottom of the line on top. And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Just make sure that that corner is on the bottom line of the top piece. And then you're going to cut your line across there. After we get that scored or marked, we're going to go over and we're going to cut those pieces with the utility knife. And just make sure that when you get ready to paint these, that you know that you're going to paint them on the side that has the marking on it. So you make sure that both of yours are opposites. I've done this before, and I've actually painted both of the same pieces and then tried to assemble it, and it was not right. And we're just going to score these with our ruler, probably about 6 times, and you should be able to snap that in half. And then after you snap it, we're going to go ahead and just clean up that edge with the utility knife as well. There'll be a little bit of excess on the edge, and we're just going to clean that up. And then we're going to go ahead and do that to the other 3 sides. Get our diagonals all cut, and the edges cleaned up so that they'll line up with our upper and lower braces. Okay, now that we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and put tape over the center part of the lines that we drew. And the reason we're doing that is because we just want to make sure that when we put our wood glue down and we put our braces back on, that we actually have wood on wood and not wood on paint, because it'll make it stay better and it'll be permanent. It will not come off. And we're going to do the same thing with our braces. We're going to line those up. The bottom line to the top line of the bottom to the bottom line of the top. And then we are going to draw those in because we want to do the same thing. We want to have wood on wood. So we are going to tape those areas off as well. You'll want to make sure you do that because you'll want to use this thing for other projects too. We're using it for Valentine's Day, but you can use it for Easter, put an Easter wreath on it, a Christmas wreath on it. We want it to last. And we're going to go ahead and just tape across those two areas. And then we're going to get ready to paint. And what we're going to do first is we're going to paint our base coat. So all you really have to do is just get that on. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're using the Sloan Paris Grey paint. And this is just our base coat. We're just going to get it all on there. Get the sides painted real good. Get your braces good. And then we're going to use the Woodgrain tool. The Woodgrain tool, we're going to paint white. And just get it on there. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be pulling a lot of it off. We're going to take our paint tool, our Woodgrain tool, and we are going to rock it and drag it. You can go over, if you don't get it right the first time on this first line, you can go over it again, but you're literally rocking and dragging to get that grain line. And we're going to continue to do that with all of them. And I did these first two just singular by themselves, but then I figured out that you could do two at a time with this Woodgrain tool. And you get this tool at Amazon, and I'll give you a link to it in the description. And it comes with another little Woodgrain tool too, so you can do smaller jobs. But the more you rock it and drag it, you'll see that the wood grain really comes out in this. You can do a lot of projects with this. I did a whole wall with this, and it turned out really, really good. And it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. A barn door is never perfect. But we're going to continue to do this with all the pieces of wood, and then don't forget to do it with your braces as well. You'll get the hang of it real quick. You're probably already thinking of other projects that you can use this for. If you get too much paint on the tool, just take a paper towel and wipe it off. Then we're going to go ahead and remove our paint because our tape, because we don't want it stuck to our paint and then had to pull some of our paint off when we get done. So we're going to go ahead and move our tape now. And then paint your other braces. All right, we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to come back and we're going to put our braces on. Just line them up. And then we are going to glue them down. Just make sure you got it lined up because wood glue dries fast and it's permanent. All right, next we're going to go ahead and make our hardware. We're going to take a sheet of cork board and we are going to trace our pattern down, and I will have that pattern in the description, the link to it. You can cut 4 of those. And I'm using these precision scissors. They're really, really good for fine tuning. I'm going to paint those with black paint. And then we're going to add some hardware, just some little brads, and I'm just going to clip the backs of them off. And then we're going to glue those down onto our hardware. And then we're going to paint those black as well. After you get those painted and let them dry, we're going to go ahead and attach them to our barn door. We're just going to, they have an adhesive back on them, so pull the adhesive back, but just to make sure they're secured, I went ahead and put some hot glue on the back of them just to make sure. I put one at all 4 points, and we're just going to glue those down. And I got the cork board from the Dollar Tree. It's really actually a really good cork board. Then we're going to take our heart, which I got at Hobby Lobby, and the rest of our flowers that we got at Hobby Lobby, and we're going to attach those to our wreath. And we're just going to take each piece and we're going to wrap a piece of wire around it, and then we're going to overlap the next flower over the wire of the first one. And we're going to go all the way down the one side. And add a little bit of hot glue just to secure them. Okay, after we get them done, we're going to go ahead and add a bow to them. We're going to take our gray and white gingham ribbon again, and we're going to attach a bow to it. We're going to tie one bow, and then we're going to come back and we're going to make another bow, and we're going to attach it diagonal on that bow to kind of make it a little bit fuller bow. And then we're going to put a hook onto the wood, and we're going to attach wire to the back of our wreath so we can attach it to our wood. Just screw a little hook in there and hang your wreath. To start, you're going to need 3 of the Dollar Tree hearts. You're going to have to get them wet and get the covers off of them. Warm water works the best, and they'll peel off. And do the next layer, and you can scrape it with a scraper and then dry them up real good when you're done. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paint them with the gray paint. We're going to paint the tops and the sides on all of them and set them aside and let them dry really good. Then we're going to come back with the white paint, and we're going to paint the sides and do the texture one at a time. We're just going to take the tool, the texture tool, and we are going to drag it around the sides, and we're going to rock it as we go. That way you get different grains in different areas. The more you rock it, the more different the grain is. Then we're going to do the opposite side as well. If you drag the grain, you'll get more of the holes in the grain, the wood, like the wood knots, and just drag it and play with it a little bit, and you can see how it works. Then we're going to go ahead and paint the front. We're going to do it in 3 different sections because we're going to try to make it look like a piece of wood. So we're going to drag the grain tool in 3 different sections on this. And then we're going to do this with all the hearts. If you mess up, you can go back over the grain pretty quickly while the paint's still wet, and it'll change the way it looks. But just hold it and drag it and rock it, and that's how you're going to get that nice grain effect. Again, we're going to do this one in 3 sections because we're going to make it look like there's 3 separate pieces of wood glued together. And we're going to do that with the 3rd one as well. There's a lot of room for error that you won't even see that you did. Okay, we're going to let those dry really good. Then we're going to take a ruler, and we're going to draw the division lines between where we went down each one in 3 sections. Make sure you mark it where you can see it really, really well. Then we can come back with a utility knife, and we are going to cut grooves in those lines. And you can get a utility knife at any of your local hardware stores, and just drag it pretty hard so you can get a really good groove in there. And just go slow because you don't want to cut yourself. Just really groove that in there so it looks like it's separated pieces of wood. All right, then we're going to attach our hearts to it, and we're just going to use some dimensionals, and we're going to glue them on just to make sure that they stay. And then we're going to actually glue them onto the heart itself just to make sure they're secured good. And we're going to do this with all 3 hearts. Then we're going to come back with some jute, and we're going to wrap it around 12 times and leave a little tail so you can tie a bow at the end. So that end's going to tie to another end. So just 12 times around. And you can use whatever thickness of jute you want. I used kind of a thin, skinnier one, and I got that at Michael's. And then you're just going to tie a bow. And yeah, I wanted to tell you too, 2 of the hearts, because they have a ledge to them where they stand up on their side, 2 of the hearts are facing the same way. 1 of the hearts is facing the opposite way. So when I group them in 3s, I can have 2 of the same on each end and then the opposite one in the center. And when you get those at Dollar Tree, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then we're just going to glue that bow down so it stays. And do that to the other 2 as well. All right, there you got 3 hearts. They're really super cute. Use them however you want to. Okay, in this video, this is going to be our P.S. I Love You vase with the flowers. And we're going to start off by painting our hearts with the gray paint. Go ahead and put 2 coats on them. Paint plenty of them because we're going to use them in another project as well. Okay, for this project, we're going to need some other Dollar Tree items. We're going to need a vase. We're going to need some jute. We're going to need some hearts. We're going to need some beads. I got those at Michael's. We're going to need some ribbon. I got my ribbon at Michael's as well. We're going to need a chalkboard pen and one of those foams and the flowers. And I got the flowers at Hobby Lobby. First of all, we're going to take our jute and we're going to fold it in half because we're going to run it double through this heart. And you can just hold it up to your vase and determine how long you want your jute. Just make it double thickness. We're going to run it through there, and then we're just going to tie it off. And then we're going to add our beads. And the easiest way to do that is to put a little bit of hot glue on the end. And then twist it with your fingers. It's not going to be real hot once you start twisting. And then they'll thread through those beads real easily. So just going to start threading those beads. Get them all on there. After we get those on, we're going to tie a double knot at the end to secure them. And then next I added our heart at the end, and that's what's going to secure it down into our vase. Just tie it on real good. And again, I secured it off with 2 knots. Okay, then we're going to trim that jute off, and then we're going to add a ribbon to it. And we're just going to take some gingham ribbon, and we are just going to tie it in a bow, and we're going to hot glue it to the front of that heart. All right, then we're going to set that aside. We're going to start building our vase. We're going to take a ribbon down the front of it, trim it off, and we're going to fold over the edge of it, like hemming it. We're going to hem the top of it so we don't have any loose ends. And we are going to glue it to our vase. And then we're going to come down and put a little glue in the middle, and then we're going to finish off the end of it the same way. We're going to tuck it under and glue it to the bottom. And then we're going to add our heart, and these are the hearts that we're going to get from another project, and we're just going to bend it and shape it till it goes over to the shape of the vase, and then we're just going to glue it on. Then we're going to add a ribbon to the front of that as well. Same ribbon, our gingham ribbon. Tie it in a bow, and we're just going to attach it to the front with a little hot glue. Then we're going to take our vase and we're going to put our foam down in it. And the flowers that I got at Hobby Lobby, I'm putting them on each side of the foam, not into the foam, because they were really long and tall, and I wanted to keep their height not too tall so that it didn't overpower the roses that we're going to put in there next. And then next we're just going to kind of pull it out and start putting our roses in. Just put them however you want to, just randomly in there, until you get them all in there. And those are going to go actually into the foam itself. Then we're going to take our hearts and we're going to write with a pencil and then paint over those. I'm putting PS on one, I, and then love, and then you on another one. And then we're just going to take our chalk pen and go over the letters and fill them in. Then we're going to attach them to some sticks so that we can stick them into our vase, and we're just going to glue the sticks onto the back of them with a little bit of a hot glue. Then after that, we're going to take some ribbon and we're going to tie a ribbon to each one of the hearts at the front up on the top. Just a little bit of glue onto the top and attach each of the ribbons. Next, we're going to attach our hearts into our vase, and we're going to stagger them. Have one in front, one in back, one in front, one in back, so that they're easy to read when they're on your mantle or wherever you're going to put them. And then after that, we're just going to take our beads and we're going to stick our heart down into the vase. And then we're done. Okay, what you're going to need for this one is you're going to need a heart sign. You're going to need some ribbon, some coffee filters, some hearts from the Dollar Tree, a paintbrush, some wire, some chalk paint, a bottle full of warm water, a bottle with water and chalk paint mixed together. You're going to need a hot glue gun and a heat source. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our jute off of there, and then we're going to take the heat gun and heat it up to get that love off of there. Then start peeling your paper up. You're going to squirt water on it to get the paper to release, and then you can use a scraper to scrape it. Then we're going to dry it up. Then we're going to paint it. We're just going to add the chalk paint to it, paint the complete thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to take our ribbon and we're going to tie our hanger back on it. I cut mine at 28 inches in length. We're going to pull it through, tie it off with 2 knots on each side. And you want to do this before you put your coffee filters on because you won't get them back off. We're going to go ahead and take our coffee filters and we're going to take them in the center and smooth them out. And we're going to cut them off 1 inch at the bottom. And you can put 2 on at a time. It's real easy. Go ahead and apply your hot glue gun to them. And we're going to go ahead and go around the edges first. We're going to go all the way around the edges until we get to the end of it. And then we're going to start filling it in the center. And you can use about 3 of those at the same time. It makes it go a lot faster. After you get that done, we're going to kind of shape it up a little bit, and then we're going to start taking our paint. We put gray paint in a spray bottle, and we're just dumbing down the color of the coffee filters a little bit. Then we're going to take our ribbon, and we're going to measure about 4 inches in length, and we're just going to wrap it around and keep looping it till we get about 10 loops. And then we're going to cut it off. And then we're going to take it and fold it in the middle, and then we're going to mark in the middle. We're going to cut in 1/3 on this side and 1/3 on this side, and then we're going to attach our wire. And then we're going to twist our wire in the back. Make sure it's tight on there really, really good. And then snip it off. Then we're going to start fanning out our ribbon until we get it shaped like we want it. Then we're going to take it and we're going to put it onto our heart. Just see where we want it, have it, kind of lay it out and get your design idea. Then we're going to take one of those wooden hearts and we're going to paint it gray, because we're going to put that right in the middle of our ribbon. And go ahead and hot glue your ribbon down. And then go ahead and put a little bit underneath some of the loops just to kind of hold it down in place. Then we're going to take our love sign and we're going to attach glue all the way to every letter, and then we're going to glue it down too. And you can kind of put these wherever you want to. You can put your ribbon at top if you want. And then we're going to add our heart. All right, then our wreath is done. We can hang it up for Valentine's. This one's a really easy one. This is a garland we're going to make out of some of the materials that we used from the previous videos. We're going to use the hearts from our signs. We're going to use the chalkboard hearts. And then we're going to use the gray hearts that we made previously. We're just going to alternate them in threes. We're going to attach our silver heart with a mini clothespin. And then we're going to attach our gray heart and our black heart with jute. Then we're going to make a bunch of little gingham bows, and we're going to attach those to the gray hearts and to the black hearts. If you wonder how long to make your garland, take your string over to your fireplace and just measure it out first, and then just start adding until you fill it up. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see future videos, hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I have another video, hit the bell. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.